Okay, I wanted to update my channel. I haven't been posting anything on the Woods project for, I don't know, a month or maybe a little bit more. Um, the place where I photograph mostly is a private owned parcel of land, and there are hunters around, and the animals just aren't used to seeing people. There's spots where they are, like the does are used to people and some of the turkeys, but the bears and the bucks in the back and some of the does in the back and bobcats and coyotes, they're not used to seeing people, and they're very skittish, especially during hunting season. And it's been fairly cold, well, seasonal. It's been cool for the last month or so. So haven't seen any bear activity really, even on my game cam. If they come out, it's dark. They come out, after 7 p.m. and they go away before 5 a.m. So they're just holed up. Taking a little bit of time off work in March, so I'm hoping to, take a few days. Maybe all the wildlife will have woken back up, and I'm hoping there's some small bear cubs. Hopefully more to come on that. But wanted to do a quick video about my main camera that I've had for about a year, and that's the 1DX Mark III. Love that camera. Favorite camera of all time. But there's a photography project that came up. And before I start on this, I do have a subscriber giveaway if I get to a certain number, and I will go through this and I'll post this at the end. So if you don't care about the subscriber giveaway, it's just an Olympus, one of those tough cameras that you can drop and use underwater, and a Wacom tablet. More to come on that at the end of the video. But anyway, had a photography project that I want to do come up, and so I wanted something. I want to print big. I want to print like 40 by 60. So my initial thought was to get the 5DSR or even the 5DS. The alias and filter doesn't, anti-alias and filter doesn't bother me. A couple months ago they were blown out. $1,300 for the 5DS, 5DSR or so. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to get one of those. And so I went to find them, and they're all sold out. And they may come back in stock, or they may not come back in stock. The R5 is pretty close. It's 45 megapixels versus 50. And of course it has, a huge advantage in speed, frames per second, and autofocus capability over the 5DSR. But this wasn't a landscape project, and it wasn't a wildlife project. And my subjects were static, so autofocus really wasn't that big of a deal. But then, I got looking at the R5, and I would buy one, right out of the gate if they weren't so expensive. I mean, it's $4,000. So and I already had the 1DX3 thanks to my wife. I'm pretty well set, but I really don't have a backup camera. So I got to thinking, can't get the 5DSR, so I pulled the trigger and got the R5. I've had it for a couple weeks. This isn't going to be, hey, which one's autofocus works best, and which one has the better image quality. There's really three considerations for me between the two cameras, because I think I can take it, if I'm going to photograph bears or deer or bison or whatever it is, I think I could take out either one of these cameras, and I'm going to get a similar photo, unless I want to blow it up, 40 by 60 or something like that. And I think the autofocus systems, what a little bit different, or sort of based on the same technology. And I think the cameras are going to be similar. But so the three things I'm going to concentrate on this video, and if you want to hear more about how the two compare, leave a comment, and I'll be glad to, do more. And I will be doing more testing. I just don't know if I'm going to do any more videos on it. But we have size and weight. So, you know, that's one. Then we have number two is power. And I'll explain that a little bit more in a minute. And three, noise. So, my penmanship's great, right? So size and weight, you know, they're completely different cameras in that regard. The 1DX is much larger, much heavier. It's built like a tank. I actually dropped the 1DX in my 500 f4 lens. Fell out of my backpack because I had it stuffed so full of stuff and the zippers weren't fully shut. And as I was hiking back to my car, they worked their way open. And I was about 10 feet from the car and it fell out. And it was about $1,000 total with shipping to get that fixed. So, you know, that was pretty rough. But so the 1DX is a lot heavier. But you know, with that, I think it's more rugged, and you know, I don't really have anything to base it on other than when you pick up the 1DX and you pick up the R5. You know, if I had to go into battle with one, you know, I'm going to pick the 1DX. I mean, it's built like a brick. I mean, that's what it feels like. But if I wanted to go, just say hiking, and I wanted to carry a lightweight rig, I mean, so this camera here could be dangerous because I've been looking at that 100 to 500 lens, and you know, with the 24 to 105 and the 100 to 500, and even if you grab like the 800 or the 600 f11, you got a 3-lens small lightweight setup that will you know, I mean, that covers your bases there. So you know, if I want to go light, I'm going to go with the R5. If I'm going to go rugged, I'm going to probably go with the 1DX. You know, I spend a lot of time, it could be raining, or you know, if I'm going to be out all day in the cold, I'm probably going to go with the 1DX. But if I want to be mobile, I'm going to go with the R5. Power is the second factor. You know, the 1DX, the battery will last longer. However, it's not quite that simple. Going back to my point about the animals, they're very skittish. And so with the 1DX, if you turn it off or it goes to sleep, you know, camera's still up, say I'm taking photos in live view, and the camera, you know, goes to sleep after 1 minute or 3 minutes or wherever you set it to do so. If a buck shows up and I turn it back on, it makes a click, and I'll record that sound with my sound recorder, and I'll post that over the video, and I'll also post 2 videos of bears that heard that sound of just me firing up the camera or switching from optical viewfinder to live view, and they heard it. And I mean, they were 50 yards away and they heard it immediately, and they spotted me and they took off. I mean, so that was 2 good opportunities. And one was a big bear. I wanted to photograph that bear, and it heard the camera. So yes, the R5 goes through batteries. However, it has a couple of advantages. One, it can go to sleep, and when it wakes up, it doesn't make any noise because it doesn't have a mirror to move out of the way. So, you know, with my 1DX now, I leave it on all the time. So I bring a couple of batteries and I have it, you know, shut down, is disabled. So if I'm in the blind for 4 hours, it's going to be on, showing me a view for 4 hours. And, you know, fortunately the battery can handle that. But, you know, the R5 can go to sleep and conserve its battery power because it doesn't make that noise when it wakes back up. I mean, if I were in Yellowstone or somewhere where the animals are used to people, that wouldn't be as big of a deal to me. But where I'm at, your day is done when you make that noise. And, you know, I've done it a couple times, but when you make that noise, the bear is not coming back. I mean, it may be a week before the bear comes back. So these two sort of go into the same bracket. Now with the 1DX, the mechanical shutter is loud, and I will post a little audio clip of that. And so I'm normally shooting in live view. And I've become addicted. I bought a small HD 5-inch monitor. And so that's what I use in live view is I have the monitor, and it's, you know, it's great. I love it. Electronic silent shutter. That's how I do my video and my photos pretty much. You know, if I'm you know, somewhere where the does are and they don't mind the sounds as much, then I can use the mechanical shutter. So, you know, I love the HD monitor. That's another battery and something else to take. But, you know, I think I'll have a hard time just getting used to the small screen on either the 1DX or the R5 anymore. So even if I take the R5, I may be tempted to take the small HD monitor. I haven't tried those two out yet, so I'm assuming that they work okay. Another thing with the noise power is, let's just say I'm doing video and I want to take some stills. When I switch from video to stills with the 1DX, it still makes that click. And that's going to be a no-go. So, you know, maybe the R5 has a bit of an advantage in that regard. But that being said, the mechanical shutter on the R5 is a lot quieter than the 1DX, but it makes enough noise where it's going to be a no-go. So I'm going to have to shoot in the electronic shutter with either one of them shooting in that place. So noise-wise, I think it's really a wash. The R5 does wake up silently, but the 1DX has enough battery power where I just leave it on. So, I mean, different strokes for different different uses. Like I said, if I'm going out and it's, you know, it doesn't do it much here, but if I were going out in a snowstorm to photograph and I was going to be sitting out, I'm taking the 1DX, you know, no doubt. And I'm not disparaging the R5. I'm sure it's fine, but I know the 1DX is, and, you know, I just feel comfortable with it being built like a tank. The R5, if I want to go quick or I want something where I want to, you know I want to take a photo I want to blow up, I'm probably going to take the R5. The two, I think I don't use them, I don't consider them competitors. I consider them, they complement each other pretty well. Matter of fact, I know this may be weird with the video specs here, you know, 8K, everybody talks about 8K with the R5, but I really think I'm going to use the 1DX for video. And I'm going to use the R5 for stills, because the video out of the 1DX, I mean, if you do the raw video or the high quality 4K video, I mean, maybe the R5 video might be a little bit better, but I don't think it's going to be much. I mean, I think you're going to be hard pressed to tell the difference. Plus, I can leave this one on, and it's, the camera will get warm if I leave it on for 4 hours, but it doesn't shut down or tell me I have an issue. I just like the way the 1DX works. I mean, so I think this is going to be my video rig. I mean, if I take both of them, video rig, stills rig, ultimately, so for video, I like the 100 to 400 Mark II lens, because, if I'm in a field, and that's another issue with the R5, and I skipped over that, and I should bring it up. So in the blind, and I'll put a picture here. In the blind, I use the camo netting, and so it's hard to see out. So the only sight that you have is with the 1DX. I'm looking at the small HD monitor. With the R5, I have to turn the camera on to look, is anything out there? I mean, you can move your head around, but you don't really want to be in there moving around a lot. So the R5 is shut down. So I got to wake it back up, take a look, or move around like this so you can kind of see out of the holes, because I have two layers of the camo netting to conceal movement the best I can. But the same token, you can't see out. So battery life could be an issue with the R5 if I have to keep waking. If I'm going to go out there all day, I have to keep waking the camera up. Is it going to overheat? I mean, I haven't used it enough to see if there's an issue. Was there last night and this morning, didn't see any animals, which is fairly odd. But how's battery life going to be with the R5 in those conditions? I mean, I think I can take 3 batteries, and that should be more than plenty to last the day. And, you know, I'm not going to be looking through the EVF, you know, all the time. So, yeah, I think either one's fine. So 100 to 400 Mark II with the 1DX Mark III. That's a good video lens. I usually leave it at 100 until something shows up. I might do like an overall environmental, and then zoom in and start doing video or photos. Again, when you click and change over, you get that clicking noise, which I put a sample of. With the R5, I mean, I'm really digging what I'm seeing about that 100 to 500 lens. I mean, so I bought the R5 with the 24 to 105 RF lens, and I bought the adapter, and I've tried the 100 to 400, and it seems to work fine. However, I would like to have this set up in the blind as video, just nothing but video, and have this set up with the 100 to 500, or even my 500 f4 lens. But if you're going to take photos, you're stuck at 500 at that point. So if you start moving around to change lenses in the blind, the animals they're going to leave, and except for maybe some of the does, they're probably not going to come back for a couple of days. So I can see these 2 setups right here. You know, that would be ultimate if I could have, you know, both of those in the blind. So like I said, I see these as complementary, not as competitors. If I only could keep one of them, it would be this one. You know, maybe this one will grow on me. It's a great camera, but I throw my stuff in a bag and I hike, and you know, there's rain, and you know, I take care of my equipment. However, I don't baby it. You know, I'm not, you know, wiping it down, and you know, I put it in there and I go hiking, and it gets used. So I think the 1DX is going to stand up to that sort of you know, wear and tear, call it wear and tear, over time, better than the R5. The 1DX I don't think is going to have any overheating problems. The video quality is plenty good. I think it would be a coin flip on, you know, who's going to get the better animal photos. Landscape photos, the R5's definitely, I think, going to do better. But if I really wanted to, I would probably use a tilt shift or something and do stitch panoramics to get more megapixels if I needed them. So yeah, I mean, but both of them are great cameras. I think they complement each other. I'm looking forward to spending more time with the R5. I'm hoping to use it, like I said, for stills. The 1DX, I'm hoping to, you know, like I'm recording this right now on the 1DX, and the eye, you know, the eye autofocus, it sticks like nobody's business. Now, the R5, I have tried the animal eye autofocus, and that's pretty slick. I will tell you, I have a very elusive golden retriever. He's trying to get in here right now, but yeah, that was the first thing I tried it on, and it just stays. It's just incredible. Used it on some turkeys, and it stayed on the turkey's eye, and they move and move in weird ways. And I would say the animal eye autofocus was on the eye about 50% of the time, and the turkey's, you know, turning away and moving and bobbing, and so that was impressive. So there's going to be more to come with that, but I'm looking forward to comparing these two. If you have anything you want to know about them, I'm probably going to show a photo of the two side by side, each with the 1DX is going to have the 24 to 105 EF lens. The R5 is going to have the 24 to 105 RF lens. You see the difference in the size. Maybe I'll do a comparison of the battery size. I mean, just to put it over me droning on and on. But more to come on that. I'm thinking in March, I'm really hoping to crank back up. I want to see, some of the trumpet plants will be in bloom. Probably not in March, but April. Maybe baby bear cubs coming out, fawns. Of course, that's going to bring out the coyotes, and I'm hoping to get some good footage, both video and photographs in March. For now, I'm going to be, working on my tennis game, which I have another channel devoted to that, but trying to get familiar with the R5. One thing that drives me nuts about this R5, and I don't understand why Canon did this. So with the 1DX, you get all these, you get all these settings and you get them programmed. And I'm going to give this a minus for that, for sure. And you can just save all your settings, like which custom buttons, all 3 custom things and how you have your buttons set up. You just save it to a card, and if the camera, somehow you have to wipe the memory, you just load the settings back on the card. Well, with the R5, it has as many or more settings than the 1DX, and there's no way to save the settings. So if the camera gets where you have to reboot it, then you have to reprogram the whole thing again. And I know that might sound like trivial until you do it, because when I dropped the 1DX and I sent it to Canon, I forgot to save my settings on the card. And the first time I got it back, I mean, I spent literally an hour, maybe even close to 2 hours, putting all those settings back in the camera, and then you forget, that you change this button to that, and that's how you like it, and you have to continually adjust it. So, I'm hoping in firmware they let you save the settings. I mean, I know there's got to be a distinction between the flagship 1DX and the R5, but that's pretty basic. I mean, that's something that they should give the R5. With it being so complex, I don't have the R6, but I would imagine it would need that too. I mean, any of the cameras nowadays, I think that's just a basic thing. Save your settings to the card, and then that way you can just set them back up if anything happens. So on to the giveaways. I have a couple things here. Been sitting around for a while. This is a Wacom tablet. This is the photo. It's the basic one. It's not the Pro or the Color. I tried this. I'm not big into photo editing. I go into Photoshop if I have to, and I'm lost. Tried to use this Wacom, was completely lost. I mean, it was okay. I actually demoed the Pro model at B&H at their store in New York, and I was able to do better with the Pro model. I will say the Pro model is definitely better than this one. I think this was, $89, $79, $99. I don't remember exactly how much it was, but if I get to 50 subscribers, leave a comment in this video and say you want the Wacom. You need to be in the continental U.S. I don't want to fill out customs forms to get this thing shipped. But, if somebody wants it, I'd like to get it to them. They can use it and carry on. The next thing, this is actually pretty cool, but I just don't use it anymore. And, you could say, cell phones have sort of killed these things, but this does have some advantages. This is one of the Olympus Tough cameras. It is waterproof to 15 meters and shock-proof to 7 feet, 2.1 meters. So you can actually take pictures underwater with this thing, which is pretty cool. It's got the flip-out screen, so you can vlog with it if that's your thing. It's just all around a cool camera. I just don't use it anymore. I mean, it's in good shape. It's actually never been dropped, and I've never taken photos underwater. I used to use it for work a lot because, it fits right in your pocket. It's got a little hand thing on there. A good little camera. I will give this away at 500 subscribers if we get there. In this video, leave a note saying, hey, I want the camera. Please be in the continental U.S. I have the charger and the cord for it. I may have a memory card. I don't even know. It's sealed up. You have to open it. Yeah, it uses a standard SD card, 16 gigabyte card. I'll include that, actually. So, yeah, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Wacom tablet. You can take photos with your Olympus Tough, and hey, let me know what you think of the video. If there's some things that you want to hear about, difference between the 1DX and the R5, and I will try to address those. Thanks for watching, and there's going to be more to come with actual content with hopefully some animals soon. So thanks a lot.